Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's Anniversaire de Historique for race 4 of 9 from the Suzuka Grand Prix circuit. We're in for an absolute treat here today. Let's take a look at the current championship standings. SGP leading the way ahead of Mitch by 3 points, a tight fight between the two of them at the top, and they've got a 10-point gap over Demonar in third, who's 1 point ahead of Conrad in fourth. Steve F1 won't be happy with sitting in fifth place at the moment on 34 points, but he has got a 6-point gap to Twilight in sixth, who is only 2 ahead of Fluffy Planet in seventh, and then a little bit of a gap to Dave the Harp in eighth. In 9th place we've got Rich Blues sitting on 16 points, while in 10th place is Bunsel on 13. In 11th is Jimmy, he's on 9 points and he's just ahead of formerly Gary, who's on 7, and Jason 1 point behind Gary. SRI, Tyler and Hay all yet to score, but that could definitely change today with all three of them on the track for the race. Okay, let's have a look at the qualifying result then for Suzuka, and let's see who's on pole position. It's going to be Mitch with a fantastic lap there of a 1:47.536, and he's a couple of tenths ahead of Steve F1, who joins him on the front row. On row 2 we've got DGT League SGP, and he's only 2 tenths behind Steve F1. Conrad is about half a second behind SGP, but it's going to start next to him, so he's got a decent chance heading down into turn 1. On row 3 we see Jason lining up alongside SRI, so a brilliant qualifying for both of those guys, while on row 4 we've got Twilight lining up alongside Tyler. The lap time's very close there between SRI and Twilight as well. Tyler making his first appearance this season, a decent result in qualifying, actually taking P8. Fluffy, who's been held up a lot this season, he says, P9 on a 1:49.996, and only just ahead of Demonar, who's down in P10. He will not be happy about that, and I don't think Dave the Arp will be happy about sitting in P11 either. Looking at the lap times, I think there may have been issues for both of those drivers. Formula Gary starts in P12. On row 7 we've got Bunsel sitting in 13th place, while Rich Blues is going to start from 14th, and then Hay is going to start from P15. However, did not set a lap time in qualifying, but he will start from the back of the grid. Okay, we're in for a 50-minute race from Suzuka, so let's head over to the commentators. And joining me on commentary once again, it's Connor. How are you, Connor?
Yeah, I'm good, Dave. I've had a dodgy sushi, but I should be alright.
That's alright. I've had a dodgy, I don't know what. Yep, I've no idea what it was, but it looked a little bit like a, I forgot what they called. It was an animal that predicted the World Cup scores years ago.
The octopus.
An octopus, there you go, yeah.
You did well there, Dave. That's great. Great start.
What an intro. What an intro, eh? I don't know. I'm a disappointment, obviously. Who isn't a disappointment? Hey, see, I made it work. But who isn't a disappointment is Mitch, who gets this race underway here at Suzuka, leading Steve F1 and SGP down towards turn 1. A very tricky corner in these cars. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see a few cars making a few journeys over towards the fans like that. There's SGP, and I think that's Conrad gone off already.
Yeah, you jinxed them both there, Dave. They both... SGP made a little mistake on the curve, and Conrad just didn't want to stop for the corner, as SRI and Jason have moved up to a position, so Conrad's under pressure as well. Yeah,
Tyler making, I think, his first appearance this championship.
It is, Dave.
So we'll see how he gets on. He's not been able to get a lot of practice in. Demonar started down in 10th as well, so he's had a bit of a shocking qualifying and not a great start to the race. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Tyler can do. He's right behind Conrad at the moment, who is closing in on the back of Twilight. Now, interestingly, Suzuka is a circuit that most of the drivers absolutely love. However, for some reason, these cars around this track, it's not been very nice to drive.
No, it's been a bit of a strange one. It seems a handful, especially through the first corner, Spoon, maybe the hairpin as well. Because if you get on the brakes, depending on where you got your brake bias, it pulls to the right hand side. You see Demonar just going down the inside of Bunsen.
Yeah, Fluffy was a little bit twitchy all over the road there as well. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think that the braking is a big part of it. If you get your braking wrong, you're going to struggle in a number of places. One place I don't think people have struggled too much is the R130, because it should be absolutely flat out. Although Bunsell and Tyler and Demon are trying to go side by side through there, that might not work. Yeah, Demon R's gone well wide as Conrad manages to only just dip a wheel. Is he going to take Twilight? I don't think he was going for that. I think he was out of control.
Yeah, it was definitely out of control. Sort of twitch as he got his two wheels on the grass, as you see. SRI going to make a move around the outside of Jason in this first corner.
Jason making his debut in the championship last race. He makes his debut in the championship last season. That really don't work. But yeah, SRI battling him through sector 1, and we see SGP is right there as well. But interestingly, because SGP and Conrad made that mistake on the opening lap, it's allowed Mitch and Steve F1 to open up a big gap already to what is now SRI in third place.
Yeah, it looks like it's at least a 6 or 7 second gap. So yeah, they've got a lengthy lead now as they want to try and pull away, as these guys are still battling for third place.
Yeah, Jason all over the back of SRI. May have a look at making a move into the hairpin. As we said, it can be a little bit tricky. SRI goes defensive, SGP tags the back of Jason, and that holds him up, and that allows Conrad to sneak through. But I think Conrad looks like he may have been letting SGP carry on there. Not really Conrad's fault, that one, but yeah, maybe it just came as a bit of a shock. Twilight now on the back of SGP, as SGP once again trying to put some pressure on Jason.
Yeah, it just sudden stopped that hairpin, so it was just a concertina effect of everyone going into one corner, different braking zones, as we see SJP getting a nice toe off Jason now as they go down into 130 yards.
Oh, there he does. I don't think Jason's going to be getting much of a slipstream off SRI either. He's a little bit too far away, so SGP may be able to have an attack into the final chicane. But having said that, do you really want to do that? Well, he's going for it, or at least he's trying to get Jason out of shape, and he's managed to do that, but he's come under pressure himself, and so has Twilight by Tyler. Yeah, so SGP lost. Oh no, Twilight's gone wide. He's done a Glock.
Yeah, that was a bit unlucky there. He just managed to sneak off the track and catch on the marbles, and that drew him into the grass as we got a nice little battle now for third place, as I think Jason might try and close in on SRI again. We've got all this pack behind as Conrad tries to battle with Tyler through this great first sector in these cars. I think this is one of the best sequence of corners that these guys will enjoy in these cars.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, once you get around turn 1 and 2, yeah, absolutely. This is a part of the track that these cars really does like, and the two Degners. But if you do go into the first Degner a bit too hot, you can always bin it at the second one. As we see that Mitch leading the way still has opened up a bit of a gap now on Steve F1. Now, I don't know whether this is Steve F1 looking after tyres or Mitch just having the pace. Either way, they've got a big enough gap already that I think they could pit and come out ahead of the pack. That's how impressive their run is at the moment in these first 5 minutes. Oh, Mitch has gone wide. Oh, commentators cursed him. That's allowed Steve F1 to really close in, but is he going to get a run on the slipstream? He's going to have an opportunity.
Yeah, that's just one of them corners, isn't it, where you get drawn off on the curb and it carries you on the marbles and you're screwed really, as we... Oh, this is tight down this straight.
It's very close through the R130, and interestingly, Steve F1 not going for the move into the final chicane, probably thinking get a better exit out of the chicane, the Casio triangle, and see if he can make a move down into turn 1, as we see Conrad and Tyler side by side, Fluffy and Dave the Harp side by side, but with Dave the Harp on the grass, Bunsell in the middle of that as well, as Fluffy taking an interesting line through the final corners. SGP has got he's closed in on Jason, so SGP has had a right phenomenal lap there to close that gap in.
Yeah, he's closed right in, as he's done a 48.7, which is sort of in the range of what the front guys will be aiming for, maybe a little bit quicker, but yeah, he has managed to close into the back of Jason, and Damon R's stuck in a battle as well. He won't want to be there, he'll be wanting to get away with the rest of them, but he's going to look at the outside. Is he going to get it done if he has the inside for the next corner?
Oh, he's up the inside of Dunlop. Bunsell, he's got to be careful he doesn't run too wide there, Bunsell. I think he's managed to survive it. Yeah, he is. He's right behind Demon R, but he's going to have to be careful as well because there's loads of others. As Connor, I think, just tagged the back of Tyler there. I think he's a no Tyler. Oh, Tyler, big sideways. I was about to say, I know Tyler's not had hardly any practice in this car around this track, as he's now got Demon R all over the back of him. But it's one of those things, isn't it, Connor, that, I mean, I could do it and you could do it. You'd very easily, before this race, go, oh, well, it's these cars at Suzuka, no problem, I'll be fine. Until you get on the track and go, whoa, hold on a moment. And that's probably what Tyler's finding now.
Yeah, you would think that. You would probably think, yeah, I would take an LMP1 car, like the TS050, the LMP1, and think, yeah, I'll not do any practice, it will be fine. And I think these cars will shock you quite a bit with the amount of, not just oversteer, it's understeer as well. So I think a bit of practice will go a long way in these cars. We see SGP still can't seem to be able to get in a position to make an overtake on Jason.
I mean, that's a good sign of it as well. I mean, SGP has been very quick in the practice. Always Tyler just dipping a wheel, or Dave the Arp going for the pit lane. Tyler's got a decent run here on Fluffy. Yeah, I mean, for SGP to not be able to overtake Jason at the moment, nothing against Jason, but it shows that it's very tricky to drive these cars around this track, because I would expect in normal circumstances SGP to have a little bit of a pace advantage over Jason, who again will be someone that hasn't had a chance to get a lot of practice in.
Yeah, I think Jason's very experienced, isn't he, as well? Yeah. He'll just know
that's
that
one way of saying he's old.
Yeah, that's being polite though, isn't it? Yeah, we're back on Mitch now as well, as he just goes purple in the first sector. We'll get off that subject of Jason, because I'm sure he won't be happy. He'd be building wardrobes for IKEA, won't he? So
interestingly, you said that SGP did 48.7. That's kind of the lap times the leaders would be wanting to do. You're absolutely right. The leaders, I think Mitch's times were 48s. There was one in the 47. So the SGP going for the move now around what I think is called the R220 or the 190 as the radius of the turn, by the way, for anyone that's interested. Like the R130, it's not a 130-degree turn. It's Jason trying to fight back. He's not going to do it around the outside of there. Yeah, it's a radius of a circle that would be 130 something. I'll believe you, Dave. I'm not sure, but I'll believe you. It is true. It is basically the angle of the corner. If you took the angle of the corner and just made it into a big circle, its radius of the circle would be 130 meters, I think it is. Right, something like that anyway. I don't know for certain. I know that I don't know the exact or mathematical solution for it, but I do know that is why it's called the R130. It's the radius of a circle. So there we go. No punchline, no dodgy joke, nothing. It was actually a serious comment.
Factual, Dave.
Factual, yeah. Oh, here's a fact for you. Conrad's in the gravel at turn 2 and 1. Oh, he's going to have to be careful though, because if he lights those rears up too aggressively on the way back onto the track, it could easily, I was going to say kill the tyres, but you don't really kill the tyres, but you could easily spin. I mean, the tyres around here, if you do have an off, you have to look after them quite a bit. Just to let you know as well, I think my internet might be playing up a little bit, because the video keeps momentarily stopping for me every now and again. So if I'm miles behind you, by the end we'll know why. Let's see, SGP now having got past Jason is all over the back of SRI. No, he's not. He's all into the deeper part of the corner.
Yeah, he just got too late in the brake knock. Oh, Steve F1's running wide through Spoon as well. He did the same as Mitch.
Interestingly, both of them as well. For anyone that watches this, I mean, if you're not watching this, you'll know nothing about this. So there's not really much point saying if you're watching this. But having seen that, again, factual. Having seen that though, both of those drivers, as soon as they got wide, they made zero attempt to get back on the track, because they knew if they did, they'd spin. So they've had to take that pain of going wide as SGP makes the move up the inside of the R130, but SRI is having absolutely none of it. This is actually allowing Jason to get back in the fight here as Steve F1 is into the pits. Oh, SRI and SGP sideways.
Oh, and SGP's all over the grass out coming out the last corner.
Ooh, be lucky to get away with that. Into the barrier he goes. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's not going well for SGP, who, coming into this race, is championship leader.
Yeah, and he was actually looking the quickest guy in practice as well. And we know what SGP can do with his tyres as well. He does look after them really well. So yeah, he's in a position that I don't think he's been in for a while, where he's dropping away from the front two and he's stuck in a battle with two guys that he should be ahead of. But SRI and Jason aren't making this one easy for him, as we see here as well. I think this is poor camera choice there. Here just gliding off the circle. But yeah, I think this is his first race of the season as well.
Yeah, you know what, I think you're absolutely right there. And interestingly as well, the tyres at this circuit, I mean, we've mentioned a few times, the tyres can get you halfway into the races. Might not be the fastest way. At this track though, because the nature of Suzuka, I think we could see a lot more pit stops from everybody at this track, because the fresher tyres are so much more powerful. As we can see, Demon R all over the back of Fluffy. I'm thinking Demon R may have pitted recently, because he was behind Jason and now he's in the pack, so he's either had them off or he's been in the pits. But this is the thing, the likes of Steve F1, who's just made a pit stop, I mean, the leaders are way ahead of the pack anyway, so they've got the time to do it. But Mitch is in an interesting situation as well, where he can see exactly where Steve F1 is and may be able to pit and come out ahead of him. SGP though was recovered and trying to battle back on Jason. A bit of a late move. I think that may have been a bit of an evasive move. It looked like he was a bit late on at the brakes there, was SGP. So yeah, I mean, for the likes of SRI, SGP, if they pit, they're in a whole world of pain, because they've got all these guys behind them. And I think that's why SGP's going for the bump draft.
Yeah, I think SGP's realised that he's drawn the other guys in, and now he's going to be in a position where, yeah, Dave the Half's going to be having a look at him, and Conrad behind as well. He's going to fight this one out.
I've got a lot.
Tucks in behind.
I've got to say, I love the fact that SRI and Jason have not made this easy for SGP. It's nothing against SGP. I'm glad they've not made it easy for anybody. It shows not necessarily just a willingness to fight for their position, but it's they're up for the race, and that's what I really do like about it. And for SRI, I mean, he's legitimately sitting in third place at the moment, and he's fended off Jason, he's fended off SGP, and now he's opening up a gap. And these guys, like I mentioned, are in a really sticky situation, because I think as we get to sort of 15 minutes, people are going to be wanting to have made a pit stop. But SGP has got all these guys behind him, so if he pits, he's going to be behind a lot of them. He's going to catch them up and be on fresher tyres, but he's going to be, what, 11th, 12th?
Yeah, he'll certainly drop behind this little gaggle of cars here, whether he comes out between... Twilight appeared from nowhere, and Demon R just got tagged there, just unaware of Twilight rejoining the circuit beside him.
I think something may have happened there between Demon R and Gary. I don't know if there was a bit of contact or not, as our race leader is into the pits, and I am a fraction behind you on the video, but we'll keep going. What was I going to say? Yeah, it looked like may have been a little bit of contact, or Demon R just giving Gary that extra bit of room, ended up off the track. Nothing Twilight could really do about Demon R being off the track, as Jason heads into the pits. And Conrad heads into the gravel for the second time, and Dave the Harp is going slow. So I'm wondering whether Dave the Harp has been involved in that, or perhaps caused it. Conrad, though, into the pits, and that's where I'd hope that Conrad's engineer is letting Dave the Harp know. Cheers for waiting, but we're pitting.
Yeah, certainly Dave the Harp does not want to be waiting for too much longer if he hasn't realised that Conrad's come into pits.
Yeah, Jason, having pitted as well, has now come out right behind Fluffy. So, as bad as it sounds, that bit of a crash has actually helped Jason quite a lot there, because the cars right behind him were Dave the Harp, I think, and Connor and Fluffy, and Dave the Harp and Connor are still behind him. Sorry, Fluffy is ahead, but yeah, not as many cars to try and overtake. For SGP though, he's not pitted, so he's obviously feeling that he's still got pace in his tyres to be able to pull away. And to be fair, if he's been lapping in the 149s, 150s, there is still pace in his car. It's Dave the Art trying to make the move. Oh no, is he going to get on the grass? Oh, he's just wiped out Jason. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, that was... now Dave the Harp's ahead of Jason, so He is waiting, but Jason's doing a 5-point turn to try and get back on.
Yeah, I think Jason might be a little bit gutted about that one. Obviously, he's got a brand new set of tyres. I mean, to be fair, completely innocent victim there, and fair play to Dave the Art for waiting for him. It shows awareness that he's fully aware he's made a mistake. I mean, he was trying to make the overtake on Ridge Blues, and I think he just dipped a wheel in the grass. For anyone who likes F1, you'll have seen Danny Kvyat do that in the Red Bull a few years ago. Oh, this is a little bit interesting. Nose to tail. Oh, Tyler's dipped a wheel on entry. He'll be lucky to get away with that. Lucky boy.
Yeah, he has lost 3 positions though.
Yeah.
Now we got Twilight just gone straight on SGP's into the pits.
I thought I saw a car disappear then. Yeah, that'd explain it. So SGP has pitted and come out, I think, ahead. So I think those couple of crashes has really helped SGP. It has.
Yeah, he's just managed to get away from these guys that he would have been behind, but that sort of helped him out now, and he's able to get a bit of fresh air and go for the lap times.
I think SGP is going to be sending Dave the Arp a Christmas card this year. They still took out Conrad, which has helped Jason, and then he's took out Jason, which has helped SGP. So yeah, all Conrad and Gary side by side through Dunlop, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these guys get on. Demon are there still battling with Tyler. SRI, has he pitted?
I don't think he has. I haven't seen him come into the pits for this race yet, so I'm guessing he'll be coming in within the next couple of laps, I reckon. He doesn't want to leave him too late, or else he will get undercut by the guys he was battling with, and maybe even a couple more.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to look at the track map at the moment, and there's 2 cars going through Spoon. I think one of them is SRI, and then there's a car right up his gearbox, but I don't know who it is as we're watching Conrad trying to attack formerly Gary, as Demon gives Conrad a bit of a nudge, and that puts Conrad up the inside of Gary, making the overtake. And Conrad will be sending out some cards as well.
Yeah, it's SGP that's on the back of SRI now.
Oh, so SGP's brand new set of tyres has really helped him out.
Yeah, as SRI comes into the pits now.
I mean, that's fascinating, that is. I mean, I mentioned a little while ago that the tyres, brand new tyres, are so powerful, and clearly they are, because I think SGP, wasn't he behind SRI before he pitted anyway? As Jason now trying to make a move on Hay.
Yeah, now he's got a good gap to SRI now, as SRI come out just ahead of Conrad. Just as Jason battling with Hayes, he goes down the inside as Hay goes wide, and that should be moved on yet.
That it is. Okay, Tyler, I'm not sure if he's pitted yet, but it looks like he's struggling on his tyres. Oh, his hay has just gone straight off into the hay. Oh, sorry, it's not hay, it's gravel. Tyler struggling a little bit as Fluffy trying to go around the outside of Dunlop, but you do not want to be dipping a wheel on the exit of there like that. Ooh, he's just about got away with it though.
Oh, it's good driving by the pair of them. Tyler just given a bit too much room there, I think, and it just drew him off the track. But originally it was good driving. I thought Tyler might. That's twice you said it. Tyler. I know. Yeah, I thought Tyler might have tried to edge him off a bit, but no, it was good driving.
I mean, it's a shame to have seen it. It'd be very easy for someone to say, no, it's bad driving, he's driven off the track. No, it's good driving, because he's ended up going off the track, unfortunately, but the reason he's gone off track is because he's making sure he gives the other guy room. That's good driving.
Yeah, Mitch has made the footage, so he's not had much to do this race. He had a couple of battles with Steve F1, but he's not had much to do since then, as Steve F1 went wide at Spoon earlier on in the race.
Interestingly as well, straight after that was when Steve F1 he dove straight into the pits and didn't seem to get much of an undercut on Mitch. So perhaps Steve F1, although looking comfortable at the moment in second place, perhaps not comfortable as he would like to be, as Fluffy trying to make a move on Jason. I don't know why I was getting a blue flag there. It's not a blue flag situation. Fluffy closes the door. Luckily or thankfully, he was just ahead. That could have been an absolute disaster, but it's not. It's a lovely overtake.
Yeah, I think blue flags in this on Gran Turismo, I think they're given to the guy who's got the faster lap. Maybe I don't think it's for the cars that are lead cars, is it? It's normally just the fastest car.
Well, I know it does do give them 4 of the lead cars, but there isn't anybody in. Ooh, bit of a concertina there. Yeah, there isn't anybody in this situation. You know what? I think sometimes it does it as well if a car lags a little bit. So I've seen that in the past as well. But yeah, it does do it for the lead cars. But yeah, it was odd that it was showing there. As Tyler looks like he's.
I think we're going to have a DNF from Tyler.
I think he's having a few issues. Yeah.
I think that was what the blue flag was for.
Yeah, I think you could be right. I mean, I'm sure I've seen it for connectivity, like a car that's lagging about before. It doesn't tend to do a yellow flag. But anyway, Gary just gets eased a little bit wide there as he's now on the run down towards the R130, as so is Twilight on the back of Jason. Oh, alongside Jason now.
Yeah, it's going to be brave if they both get through here. Twilight just lifted out of it, and Jason actually made a mistake, but Gary, they've all gone past. It's Senna and Prost, that.
You know what, it's unfortunate that, I mean, Jason was giving Twilight plenty of room, Twilight giving Jason plenty of room. They both ended up off the track, and unfortunately Gary got collected in the accidental accident. But yeah, Jason manages to keep going, but now he's got Fluffy sideways ahead of him, or sideways alongside him, gives him a little nudge. Maybe he wants to change paint with him.
Yeah, they're both green, isn't it? I think Jason's seen the shade of green that he wants. Go on board with Conrad as he's chasing down SRI, and he's got Demon R chasing him down at the same time, so got quite a little battle going on for 4th now as well.
Oh, he's gone wide though through the Degners. Can he save it? Can he control it? No, he's into the gravel. Oh, it's so easily done there though. You make the mistake through Degner 1 and in Degner 2. Yeah, it's absolutely ruined you. It could have gone a lot worse for him though. Mitch, as we have a look at him heading into the R130, looking very, very comfortable now. He's opened up the gap to Steve F1. So I'm guessing that Steve F1 might have pitted again recently, because that gap's looking about 10 seconds, about 8 seconds. Well, would you like to take a lap on board with him?
Yeah, I'll take a lap on board with Mitch, as he's got plenty of space in front of him. Go through the first corner, just a slight lift there down to 3rd, braking down to 2nd through the 2nd corner, and go through this good sequence of corners in these cars. Little lift into 3rd here, down. Oh, he keeps it in 2nd there. Cross to the right. Use a bit of the curb on the inside. This is a difficult corner to get right, because sometimes you oversteer and understeer at the same time, but he manages to get her through there, and it's flat all the way around to Degner 1. The cars sound great as he just down to 3rd, across the curb, braking on the curb, very dangerous. He gets it across in 2nd gear, lets the car rev out into 3rd, through the right hand side, keep the car straight for braking, or else you'll be pulling off. Gets it. Oh, he's into 2nd there as he struggles with the gears a little bit. Just lets it rev out in 2nd, up the 3rd, straight through this sequence of corners. It's very easy corner, just keep it flat. Down to 3rd, cross into Spoon, great corner as well if he can get this right, and just use a bit of curb on the inside, cross to the right hand side, and gets a nice run down into 130R. Very long straight. This is, we've seen a few times in these cars, you get a good bump draft, and he's pulled over to the right hand side, all the steering lock to get it into the left, get the car in position for the last chicane. Good late braking, use all of the curb on the left as well. Yeah, straight out, up to 3rd, down to 4th, and across the line.
Yeah, a nice lap there from Mitch. For anyone that's wondering why the steering may look a little bit different to what is happening in the car, David Hart runs a little bit wide at Spoon. Got to be careful of that, and around he goes. That's what I was on about earlier when I said that Steve F1 and Mitch made no attempt to try and stay on the track. Unfortunately, it looked like Dave just tried to turn onto the track, and around she blows. But yeah, it's just the graphics on the replay, unfortunately, with the steering wheel.
Yeah, I just noticed with that lap time that Mitch actually did there, Dave. He did the exact same lap time to the millisecond 2 laps before. So that's the sort of race pace and consistency that's got him in the lead and away from Steve.
Definitely, and during that lap, Steve F1 did dive into the pits for a new set of tyres, so he hadn't already pitted. He was just losing ground on
Tyler's
Mitch.
still going as well.
Yeah, he is. So whatever his issue was earlier on, he's managed to recover from it, and he's continued going. Jason now ahead of him, and interestingly, Jason's been stuck behind Fluffy for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's as we've seen before, SGP struggling to get past Jason. Jason's now struggling to get past Fluffy, and we see, is that Gary going for a move on Tyler? Tyler's making a move on Jason now.
Aye, that he is. He's decided to. Oh no, yeah, he has kind of backed out of it. He's been on the outside through the first Degner already today, and it's not worked for him. But the interesting thing as well, I mean, for the likes of Jason, I don't know how old his tyres are now or how old Fluffy's tyres are, but if Fluffy is on fresher tyres, that would make it difficult for cars. Oh, Twilight taking a little bit sideways there. Yeah, it would make it difficult for cars behind them to overtake. Oh, Gary trying to make it 3 wide. Oh, Jason got away with it there as Mitch is into the pits from the lead, and he's going to come out way ahead in the lead as well.
Yeah, he's looking good for this race now. Is Mitch? He's come out on new tyres and he's got a decent lead. As SGP's pitting again. Go back to these guys who are fighting over 7th place. Fluffy's still ahead.
That he is. Tyler right up the gearbox of Jason there. Jason going a little bit defensive. Is he going deep? Yes, he is. He's just tagged the side of Fluffy on. Around they go. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Twilight was arriving backwards in the chicane in the background as well again.
I didn't see that actually. Oh, SRI's had a bit of a moment down at turn 1. I was going to say that SGP had pulled away from SRI, even though SGP has just gone into the pits. SRI was comfortably sitting in 4th place, but now he's got Demon R right behind him in 5th place. We're not seeing much of Demon R, and Conrad actually is not too far behind either. So SRI has suddenly gone from being in quite a comfortable position to coming under attack from potentially 2 drivers.
Yeah, it's amazing to see that the amount of issues that these guys have had from going off a few times. You know, Conrad's had a few off, Steam and ours had a couple of offs, especially getting tapped around at Spoon, and they're still there in 4th, 5th and 6th, so they're still running good pace. As Damon R goes around the outside, does he? Just get squeezed a little bit on the grass, but no harm there.
Yeah, I think he'll get away with that. Yeah, SRI tucks in behind, but now SRI is going to have the slipstream up into Spoon, and Dave the Arp and Tyler. I don't know who was the cause of that, but they both had a crash as we're now back. Oh, look at Conrad, he's closed right in. I was going to say that SRI is going to get the slipstream, but no, Connor's not. I was going to say Connor will get it more, but he won't now.
No, just another mistake running out, understeering across the curb and just dipped 2 wheels into gravel. And that slowed him right down. As you see, actually, SRI is still on the back of Damon R.
He is. Conrad nearly running wide again. SRI is going to be able to make the move. Tyler's just had a bit of a moment at the bottom of the screen there, as we've still got a massive pack going on. Gary leading the pack now with Jason and Tyler behind them. Let's see, I think SRI hasn't been able to get past Demon R from what I've seen, which is why we are looking at the pack. Jason trying to make the move on Gary, but I think he may have just given him a little bit of a nerf into the gravel, and someone else has just ran wide as well and
that
spun.
Was Tyler just run off wide. Yeah, he's facing the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, we said it earlier on. For some reason, these cars around this track very, very tricky. A lot of the drivers, I mean, I've spoken to quite a few of the drivers, and they were saying that from the first laps in practice, they were struggling, and pretty much everyone was thinking that it was just them. It wasn't until we did the group practice on Monday that people realised, everyone's struggling then.
Yeah, there was a few battles in on Monday where we're seeing people misjudging corners, and even this race compared to the practice. SRI gets a good bit of throttle there and just spins it round as Conrad comes past him now.
Like that he does. Okay, Jason has now been freed up actually with, well, I was going to say freed up, he hasn't, he put Gary into the, I'm going to call him Gavin, Govern, alright, Govern, he's put him into the gravel, but yeah, so Jason's got a bit of a gap now, we've got Hay behind him, so Jason really needs to get a bit of a shift on if he can. Mitch still leading the way though very comfortably as David Hart hunting down, oh no, he's not hunting down Hay, at least don't want to be not out there, unless that's Hay just sort of getting out of the way of everybody. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Can he save it?
Yeah, great pirouette there from here. He knew he was on camera, so he's got to show off somehow. But yeah, just noticed that the top 6 have actually got quite a decent gap now. Seem to have got away as we see who's that in the pits now. I know SRI is one of them, maybe Demon R or Conrad.
It could be Demon R, it's SRI.
Conrad and SRI have come into the pits.
Oh, that they have, and we can see why, because they've been able to get out ahead of the pack. So yeah, I mean, we're 18 minutes to go. You could potentially put a set of tyres on now and get to the end, but I think would probably, Rich is all out of shape, manages to save it though, and by all out of shape I don't mean he's got a bit porky. Oh no, oh no.
You had to jinx him, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Said he's managed to catch it, and Phil Rich has just gone round again. But yeah, he's not last as we see Twyla again.
He is last.
Yeah, he is last now. But I was going to say Tyler was still behind him. But yeah, now back on board with Steve F1. Steve F1's times aren't actually that bad. I think it's just Mitch has been so consistent and managed to get a gap in the first place. He just hasn't been able to get close to him.
Well, interestingly, I think Steve F1 is, I know he's one of those drivers that was struggling a little bit around this track, and given the situation that he finds himself in now, if he pushes like mad to catch Mitch, he may be fearing making a mistake, and if he makes a mistake and loses 20 seconds, which is basically what happens, because it's not just the spin that gets you, it's recovering afterwards. If that happens, he comes under pressure then from SGP, and he needs the points gain over SGP. He might not be able to do anything about Mitch, but he's got SGP, he's ahead of SGP, so maybe it's kind of like that safety mode of, right, I'm just going to do what I can, stay on the road. If Mitch makes a mistake, Davey Hart going for the move on Fluffy, side by side, through the final chicane, that's a lovely bit of driving. We've seen a few different ways of going through those corners. And Gary shows us another way of going out of the corners. Is he into the pits? Well, maybe not by choice, but he's in there anyway.
Yeah, we've seen a few moves down in that last corner where I don't think people have actually gone for moves. They've just sort of misjudged the braking and managed to get it stopped on the inside. But they didn't crash into each other.
Right? Here's a thought for you. When we went on board with Mitch, 5-10 minutes ago, I did notice that the 100-metre marker board is missing. So is it possible that people have lost their braking reference point for that corner?
You could say that, but even before the 100-metre board was missing, people were still getting on the inside and braking late. But I think it becomes a bit more difficult when you're in a pack. You're behind another car and you can't really see the brake marker boards. And now that they're actually missing it, it's even more difficult as these guys go side by side through the hairpin.
So these two
we've actually got two groups of two going side by side. But yeah, it was good driving.
You've done it now. It was good driving as Dave the Hart goes off the track. It was good driving, to be fair, and that all stemmed from the final corner of the
well, that was no fault of his own there, but yeah.
Bonsall going a little bit wide at Spoon. I think he's realised though, I mean, I do find it fascinating. You can tell, like with Hay, when Hay went wide at Spoon, you could tell he was trying to get back on the track and he ended up spinning. Dave Hart did the same thing. Bonsall there went wide, realised he went wide and just dealt with it, didn't spin. Twilight! Yeah.
Takes out the 50 marker board.
I wonder if that's one of those, I'll pop out from behind him, see where I need to brake. Alright, 100 metres ago.
I think he's the one that struck out the 100 metre. Oh, he's stuck now.
He is stuck by the Hitachi sign in the Casio triangle. I think Twilight's going to be getting a little bit frustrated with this one. As David Hart now goes wide again, this time at turn 1.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of cars going off there now, haven't we? Especially on the first lap where he said we might see a few cars, and we did see a few cars. Gary takes a lot of curb there. He doesn't want to get the tyres too dirty going through this section. As we see there, he had a little wiggle.
And that all comes from being that little bit more over the curb, as you were saying, and he's now got to be careful. Well, actually, he's got a bit of a run on Hay. Tyler, though, oh no, that's a disaster. That's an absolute disaster for Tyler. Is he going to get it stopped before the Degner? I think he has just about. No, you know.
Yeah, he just wanted. I think he
collected someone. Yeah,
I think he collected Bunsell rejoining, because Bunsell was ahead of Dave the Hart, and we saw him going very slow. Tyler's actually slowed down. So, are we actually going to see him retire this time, or?
I think, well, you know what? When you've had an incident a bit like that, that's one where I think as a driver I could understand anyone going, you know what? I'm having a shocker. I'm affecting other people. That's kind of a situation where I would say, if somebody wanted to retire their car, it's a perfectly reasonable situation to do so. I would always also say, though, I mean, I'd like to see people keep going, but I think if I was having a bit of a mare and affecting people's races, I'd have the knowledge to go, yeah, I'm having a shocker here. Gary getting a little bit sideways there. Connor, I've got a question for you. Oh, it's Fluffy heads into the pits. Do you want some up, dog?
I'm not saying the W word to get the punchline for you.
No, I don't know what you mean. Don't know what you mean. So miserable.
What's up, dog?
Nothing.
I got my last night with dog jaw. So I got a bit of dog jaw.
Right.
She went reached over. I said, "Oh, feel there. It's got a lump." She reached over and I tried to bite.
Oh, bloody hell!
Yeah.
Bloody hell. I don't know.
Oh, Conrad wide again as he's under pressure from SRI now. He's trying to get the dirt off the tyres, I think.
Right, SRI closing in rather quickly. Right, and seeing as you've ruined that joke for me, here's one for you. Why did the chicken cross the road?
I don't know.
To get to the idiot's house. Knock knock.
Who's there?
The chicken.
You've been practicing setting that one up, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I like that one.
I bet you've used a few on these, a few in this league.
Oh, God. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Right, has SRI closed it on Connor? Yes, he has. He's actually tried to make a move into the R130. Ooh, Connor's running all the way around the outside. Managed to stay on the track, though. Yeah, good driving from the both of them. We've got to say, though, I think Mitch is absolutely checked out of this one. I mean, we've got 11 minutes to go. He is gone. Steve F1 is pretty much safe. Dave the Arp's having an off with Gary. I don't know whether he was helped or
having an
not.
off with Gary?
Yeah, he was, yeah. I'll have to tell Gary's missus about that one. Somehow Gary's ended up at the head of that pack, though. But,
yeah, it's opportunistic, isn't he?
Yeah.
Just managed to make the move.
Someone's in the pits. It's Rich Blues, I think. No.
Rich Blues is still there in it.
Yeah. I wonder who. It might be. Hey, I don't know. No, they're on the move.
You don't know, Dave. It's basically what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't got
one
a
of
clue.
the guys in the pack.
Yeah, somebody on track was in the pit lane a moment ago.
Somebody else is on track in the pit lane as well.
Yeah. Oh, SRI just got a little bit too much curb there, and you have to be so careful. I mean, we've talked a bit. Yeah, then which robot?
MC Dave.
Which robot makes this noise? Anyone over the age of 35 should know. Race leader Mitch into the pits. Steve F1 not into the pits, so may have already made a stop. But yeah, Mitch comfortably out in the lead. SGP from third place. He has now headed into the pits, and he's got enough space to come out comfortably, still in that third place.
I'm quite shocked at how many times SGP's pitted this race. He's normally the one for the one stop. So I thought he would have tried to do maybe a two stop this race, but it just shows how bad the tyres are around this track.
Yeah, and not only that, if you've got the space behind you, there's no harm in pitting, because what you're going to lose in the pit stop, 6-7 seconds. If you have an off because you total SRI into the pits, so people making what looks like their last pit stop.
I think SRI's. I think that was. I don't think he was going to go originally. I think he's trying to get the undercut on Conrad, maybe.
Yeah, he could be. You know, I mean, if SRI's thinking Conrad might pit at some point, so I'm going to pit. I mean, that's the thing in that situation. For SRI, it's not a bad call because if Conrad doesn't pit, SRI's got fresher tyres, will probably catch him back up. But Conrad, if his tyres are 10 minutes old, then he's probably going to want to think about pitting soon.
Yeah, we know that Conrad isn't the best on tyres either, as we see Jason on the back of Gary is actually going for the move. Gary just manages to close the door.
Davey Harper looking to be, I was going to say looking to be sneaky, but I don't think he is. I think he's just looking to position his car in the best place he can behind Jason without getting attacked from behind. He is, because he's trying to fend Fluffy off. I mean, it's an interesting situation as well, because when you're in a position like Dave is, he's kind of defending, but it could make the car ahead think that he's trying to attack. So if Jason starts defending, it will slow him down like this. Look, and Davey Arp goes all wiggly around the outside of him. But if Jason had ignored Davey Arp there, he may have got rammed off, but he may have been able to get around the corner a little bit quicker.
Yeah, these guys are really tight together now, as we see Dave the Harp having a look around the outside of Jason. I think he's run off wide there, Dave the Harp, has he?
You know what, I think he has. He's not had...
He's rejoined at the back, just in front of Rich Blues.
Yeah, he's not had a good day around Spoon as Dave the Arp, and unfortunately sometimes that's the way it can go. Always Twilight looking at pulling out alongside Jason, who's going defensive as Conrad is into the pits. So let's see if SRI has got an undercut on him. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. There is Connor coming out of the pit lane. Is SRI going to be ahead? Yes, he is. On the fresher tyres now, though, is Connor.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a... Dave the Harp, I don't know whether he was trying to come into the pits there, but he got a wiggle on across the track, and now he's going to be under pressure from Rich Blues down the straight. He's actually going to make a 3 abreast. Please don't do that. Gary manages... Gary on the out... Gary was on the outside of that 3 and he managed to come out ahead, so good driving from the 3 of them.
I think David Arm sort of decided to back out of that one, perhaps got caught out by how much Bunsell slowed down for the corner, but I'm not going to complain about that, because Bunsell slowing down for corners is a very new thing.
And not going into the back corners, he's learning.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, he's been making a big difference. He's been
very good since he changed his attitude and the way he went into battles with people. He has been picking up more results and he's been doing really well, as we see Gary going wide.
Yep.
Good move from Bunsell there.
Yeah, Dave the Arp. I'm a bit scared of Dave the Arp going into the hairpin and Spoon at the moment, because we've seen him dip all Conrad's on the back of SRI. But we've seen Dave the Arp dip a wheel on the grass under braking into the hairpin. We've seen him be a bit wiggly into the hairpin. We've seen him dip wheels on the exit or out wide of Spoon. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's still more action to be had there. SRI though is going to have his work cut out to keep Conrad behind him. Conrad last time out had an extremely boring race, nobody to battle for most of it. This time he's got an annoying Scotsman all around him.
Yeah, he had a 20-second gap in front and a 20-second gap behind last race, but I think he'll enjoy this one more, as he's going to look to get SRI in these last 5 minutes.
I tell you what, it's gone quickly. However, for Mitch, it probably can't end quick enough. Conrad gets a little bit too close to SRI. Got a little bit twitchy on the exit of 2 there, as we've got somebody else heading into the pits by the looks of it. Conrad all out of shape there.
Yeah, he just got caught in the marbles trying to go around the outside of SRI, and it just didn't work out how he planned. But he's got the rest of the lap to have a look, and he's still got 5 minutes to try and get a move done.
Alright, Daddy has. I'm just having a quick look at the track map. I think Mitch is currently heading into the final corners with Steve F1 not too far behind him, but too far away to do anything about it. I think we've then got a rogue car in there because SGP and oh, sorry, there's action going on.
Yeah, Conrad just round the outside of SRI in the hairpin there. They've done what looks like a bit more action further back as Jason's down the inside of Bunsell.
Oh, it's Gary.
Oh, it's
And
Gary,
Bunsell.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't see Bunsell there, I only saw Gary. I'm going to sneeze.
A chew. Oh, just got into the side of each other, Gary and Jason there. Jason just gets the move done.
I managed to get mute on for the sneeze and then, yeah, nearly missed all the action. I'm going to sneeze again.
Yeah, just going back to Mitch. Yeah, he has got a very good gap. Last few laps have been 48 with a 46 and a 55. I think that's
Pit stop.
Pit stops, yeah.
Excuse my nose. Yeah, sorry about that. So yes, it is Mitch ahead of Steve F1. There's a car near Steve F1. Ah, it's Hay. It's Hay. He's now become a ghost. Okay, so that was I thought there was a rogue car in the line of cars somewhere.
I think we've lost Tyler as well, as I've just noticed the grid's gone down to 14 cars.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. So SGP in third, Demonar fourth, Conrad in fifth after having made that move on SRI. Is SRI going to be able to do anything back at him in the last 3 minutes? Twilight sits in seventh ahead of Jason, and then we've got a right battle going on, and I've got a feeling this battle may continue all the way to the end. And the reason I say that is it's been going on since the start of the race, so I don't think the last 3 minutes are going to be any different.
Yeah, it's nice to see Fluffy's headlights intact this week.
For now.
For now, yeah.
Oh, Gary having a look at him.
Oh, Jason did Jason just get in the back of Twilight there?
I'm not sure. I wasn't looking at them. I was looking at the cars behind them. So it would be wrong for me to say one way or another. I wasn't looking.
Yeah, I think he might have just nudged the back of him as he got braked a bit later than Twilight in the corner. But Bunsel's weaving around behind Gary trying to make a move. Gary's actually close on the back of Fluffy.
That he is. I mean, interestingly, okay, yeah, Bunsell might be moving around a little bit side to side, but in some ways, I'm rather him moving around side to side than going for overtakes that are not on. Oh, who's that behind him? Is that Twilight?
Twilight.
Yeah. Twilight. Oh, I think Gary and Bunsell just came together there just before the entry. That sent Bunsell wide and sent Gary across the corner. Bunsell backing out of it, perhaps thinking his fault there, as Gary now got Twilight all over the back of him. David Harp closing in on the back of Bunsell again. So just looking, this is going to be these guys' last lap. 1 minute 20 on the clock, and it's a 1 minute 50 lap. Yeah, these guys are now on the last lap as Fluffy gets sideways with the assistance of Gary. Gary gets sideways with the assistance of Twilight, and Twilight gets compromised a little bit and now being passed by Dave the Harp.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a frantic last lap as they all start closing on each other from 7th to 14th. They're all there in the same bit of same sector and same bit of track, so it's going to be tough. Sorry, 7th to 13th. We've got Hay in 14th, haven't we? Yeah. So yeah, Gary just closed. Oh, he's made a mistake. Nearly back Dave the Harp there, but he manages to get away with it.
Yeah, and Bunsell manages to get past as well. Rich Blues closing in now on the back of Gary. And this is absolutely mental. I mean, we've had a 50-minute race, and okay, the front 5 or 6 are spread. These guys, the rest of them aren't. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean,
it's going to be tight for Conrad and SRI, yeah.
You know what, you're right. 13 seconds on the clock. I don't think they're going to make it to the line in time. Demonar has already crossed the line, so he's started the next lap. Yeah, I don't think they're going to make it. It's going to be close. 2, 1. No, the flag is out. The race is over for Conrad. 5th place it'll be for him. 6th place for SRI. I think both of them should be very happy actually with that kind of result. Oh, Jason. Oh, Fluffy and Dave get side to side. Oh, and there's a big crash.
Everyone's gone off there, I think.
Oh dear.
Who's come through? Rich Blues and Gary have managed to come through a couple of positions. Jason actually takes 7th, Twilight 8th.
Yeah, I think Jason Mack was just ahead of the carnage there. I couldn't see exactly what happened, but I think I saw Fluffy a little bit off track, a bit of contact between himself and Dave the Heart. And I don't know whether that then slowed them up and they got hit from behind. But what we'll say is we're not seeing much of him today, but Mitch has been absolutely untouchable today. So yeah, what I mean, look at his lap times as well, absolutely brilliant. A fantastic win. He's second of the championship, I believe, and he'll retake the lead of the championship as well. A fantastic result for Mitch here in Suzuka. Steve F1, I think he's done as much as he could do here today without ending up off the track. So a good result for him. SGP did really well to close the gap into what he did, to be fair, after a very tough first half of the race. Third for him. Demon R miles behind, but considering that he qualified 10th and had the pack to deal with for quite some time, I think he'll be, well, will he be happy with 4th? Maybe, who knows.
I don't think he'll be happy in the sense that he knows he could have done better, but from the qualifying that he had and the incidents he had, I think he'd be very happy with the performance on the day.
Yeah, you could be absolutely right there. Okay, so yeah, there we go. That is the Suzuka race all done and dusted. It's been a tough one, that is for certain, but got to say congratulations again to Mitch. Outstanding today, absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was getting past Mitch on that race. He did really well.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple of incident reports placed on that one as well. I don't think there was anybody that didn't end up with a little journey off the circuit there, and it's an unusual one, that, as I mentioned. Usually around Suzuka, everybody loves that track, but this car, that track, something weird was going on a bit there, but it's made for an interesting race, that's for certain. So yeah, it'll be fascinating to see what it's done to the championship standings, which we will get onto in a moment. But I just want to mention that the next race is going to be at Yamagiwa on the hardest compound of tyre. However, I do know that a few of the guys after this race are heading straight over to Yamagiwa on the hard tyre, because they have been told by someone that's tested there already that the car feels better around that track on that tyre than it did around Suzuka on this tyre. So I think we can expect a very different type of handling car from the Yamagiwa circuit. Yeah,
I've actually been told as well that the hard tyre is probably feels better than the soft.
Yeah.
In some ways, but I don't know why that would be.
Well, I do know from the testing experience that I witnessed, that the softer tyre, either the medium or the soft or the super soft, is faster. I think the super soft is about 3 seconds a lap faster, but it's dead after 2 laps. Whereas the hard tyre is 3 seconds a lap slower, but will give you exactly the same lap times for 25 minutes. So like the super soft tyre is great, feels great for 2 laps, and then it's awful. The hard tyre feels great and stays that way. You're just going a little bit slower, but over the net course of a race, you'd actually be going faster, because you're not having to pit, you're not having a loss of time. So yeah, I think people will really enjoy driving that car around that track, as long as they remember not to use first gear in the awkward little chicanes. Right, Connor, got another question for you. Right.
Okay.
Well, it's not really a question, but
I know it's not going to be a question. I know exactly where it's going to be.
Well, we'll see. I bet I can get you to say red.
Right.
Okay. What colour is the sky?
Blue.
I told you. I told you I'd get you to say blue.
No, you told me to say another colour.
What colour would that have been then? You meant to say no. You told me to say red.
Yeah, it's rouge.
Fucking rouge, you bastard. Well done.
I'm not as stupid as I look.
Oh, I don't know. You answered the door to a chicken. Oh dear.
I thought it was a KFC delivery.
Alright. Oh, don't look starving. Right, okay, I think it's time we shall have a look at whether there was any incident reports on that race, and also see what the confirmed race result is and how that has affected the championship standings. Cheers, Connor, for helping us on commentary once again.
No doubt I'll be back next week.
We shall see. I will just quickly mention as well that if you haven't already seen it, over the last week, DGT released a little bit of a reveal video to do with the first championship car that will be used in 2021. Just a reminder as well, we've still got the WT Ford to do once we're finished with the Anniversaire, the Historique, which will be, I think, a couple of weeks before Christmas, a couple of weeks after Christmas and into the new year, and then on to something new. Okay, let's take a look at the confirmed race result then for the Suzuka race. Mitch taking the victory in the maximum 20 points. Steve F1 finishing in second, taking 17. SGP managed to recover to third, as we saw, 15 points for him, still in the fight for the championship. Demon R finished in fourth on 13 points, ahead of Conrad and SRI, who had a good battle at the end, for fifth and sixth. Jason finished in 7th place, scores 9 points. Twilight crossed the line in 8th place, bagging 8 points, but unfortunately does get a minus 6 point penalty for the incident at the end of the race there. Details of that is on the Facebook page. Gary finished in 9th place. He was caught up in the incident but managed to get away with it quite luckily, to a degree. Rich Blues finished in 10th on 6 points. Bunsel 11th. Fluffy Planet in 12th and David Harp in 13th, both affected by the incident at the end. And then Hay finished in 14th, and Tyler did not finish, unfortunately. However, from his post-race comments, he did decide to basically get out of the way as the leaders were closing in on him, as he felt he was having a bit of a bad race, unfortunately. Okay, what has that done then for the championship standings? Well, you can see it on the screen. Mitch now leading the way, ahead of SGP by 2 points. Both drivers have got 2 wins each as well, so it could be going down to the wire between these two. Demon R is quite a way back. What's that, 15 points? Yeah, 15 points behind in 3rd place, but he's only 2 ahead of Steve F1, who's now up to 4th, and Connor in 5th. Twilight and Fluffy are joint 6th, and David Hop and Rich Blues are joint 8th, while Bunsel closes in 10th place on 18 points. Jason has managed to jump a few spots to get up to 11th on 15 points now. And Formula Gary, having missed a couple of races and making his return, is now up to 12th place on 14 points, ahead of SRI, who's bagged his first points of the season today. He's ahead of Jimmy and then Hay and Tyler, who has not scored yet. So things definitely heating up for the championship. So next up is Yamagiwa, as we mentioned on commentary. It's a very fast track with a couple of tricky corners, a couple of awkward hairpins and an interesting chicane, and then some high speed flat out corners, or nearly flat out corners, on the hard compound tyre. It's going to be an interesting one, so let's see how this championship is going to play out as we head towards the end of 2020, thank God. And yeah, if you want to check out all the action, you know what to do. Come and have a look at Dynamic GT League. Have a good one, folks, and we'll see you all again soon.